Hello, and welcome to the 100 Acre Wool Knitting Podcast. I am a knitter, knitwear designer, lover of fiber arts, hand spinner, sewer, all of the fiber arts things. And this is a podcast where I like to share with you what I'm working on, some new designs that I may have in the works, and maybe some new ideas that I have of things to make. And oh my goodness. Welcome if you're new, or welcome back if you have been here before. Again, it's been a while. I hope you had a great summer. Oh man. Yeah, so life, I don't know. I feel like saying life just happened is kind of like a cop-out, right? I've honestly been feeling this summer, I've been feeling not as invigorated in the knitting and fiber arts sphere as I usually am. I don't know why, something about this summer I just felt like I wanted to do summery activities, and I know you can knit in the summer, of course, and there's plant fibers, but I'm much more of a proponent to, I like wool a lot better, rustic wools and things like that, and I don't know, I just wasn't really feeling the knitting vibe. I also wasn't feeling much like sewing. I just kind of had a creative slump this past summer. But that all changed about a week or two ago when I got the first kind of inkling of feelings of fall coming around. So now I'm in the full swing of fall feelings and wanting to knit all the warm, cozy things and wanting to curl up with a nice coffee or tea, and just, I'm so excited. I feel like this summer, like since I didn't really do much in summer and kind of a lot of my projects took a break, I didn't knit as much as I normally would, and now it's like coming back full force plus more for the fall time. I have so many new ideas, so many creative ideas that have just come to the forefront that I'm just really excited to get on some needles. So it's like a big rush of energy now. I wonder how you feel. Do you get this feeling in the fall time? I don't know. I feel like I'm someone who loves all the pumpkin-y flavor things. I know that's probably like totally random, but I love all the pumpkin-y flavor things, and I love the wool and warm, cozy clothing and coffee, and just I want to be cold so that I have an excuse to sew and knit more things, right? Does anyone else feel that way? Anyway, I'm rambling on. So let's get to what I've actually been working on. So a lot of these things have been in the works for a while. Some of these things will be new to you. And yeah, we've also gone on quite a few trips, so I have some things to share with you on that front. So I have a lot of finished objects. I think I have 4 finished objects to share with you today, which is a lot for me. And then we have some sewing. Do we have some sewing? Well, sewing ideas that I would like to share with you, and spinning, and then some new things that have made their way into my life recently. So let's just get right into it. So first, I will talk about what I am wearing. This is one of my finished objects for today. I actually finished this a month or 2 ago already. But anyway, haven't shown it finished here on the podcast yet. So here it is. This is one of my new designs. This is called the Lacecap tee, and I finished this a while ago, but the pattern took a little bit of time for me to grade and get everything tech edited and all buttoned up to be ready for test knitting. So actually, if you are a subscriber of our newsletter, you can go check in your email inbox already, and you may see in there the application to apply to be a test knitter for this pattern if you would like to do so. I'm ready for test knitters for this pattern, so yay! It is actually quite fitting still for the season. This is knit with worsted DK or worsted weight yarn, so it's thicker than a normal t-shirt fabric maybe would be. And it's also, I used Newton yarn for this particular sample, so this particular sample is quite warm. So it's actually really great for the weather, the type of weather that we're having now, where it's getting a little bit colder, but it still can be t-shirt weather. It's kind of like an in-between, so I am very comfortable in this right now. So yeah, I will stand up so I can show you some of the details a little bit more since I'm wearing it right now. So this is a really quick and easy knit. It's worked bottom up, so you cast on here at the bottom, work up. There's two colors, so we have a main color and then there's a contrast color in here in the stripes. I wanted to create a really fun kind of textural soft stripe, and then also some little eyelets throughout. So it goes all the way around to the back, and then you keep working up. There's a bit of a subtle V-neck, and then the sleeves are really easy to execute. This whole thing, if I had been only knitting on this t-shirt, it probably would have only taken me a couple of days, with how large of a gauge it is and how thick the yarn is, and it's kind of a small garment anyway as opposed to a sweater. It did go pretty quickly, so I would definitely recommend it for maybe newer beginner knitters or someone who's not wanting to take on like a full colorwork sweater sort of a project that's like a lot of it's a lot more commitment. So yeah, I am really excited about this pattern. I'm really excited to finally share it with you all and get it out into the world. I feel like I'm hoarding these patterns right now that are not finished. Oh man, sometimes pattern writing has ups and downs, at least for me. Still learning. But anywho, yeah, so this pattern is going to be in test knitting very, very soon, and then I will get it out and published as quickly as possible. I'm thinking, again, since I said that this works up pretty quickly, I'm thinking that the test knit will only need to be a month, but I am gonna talk with my test knitters to see if that's doable for them. But I'm thinking that this can be a month-long test knit, so it should be available in October then. So we'll get into the next finished object. I have finished another one of my designs, and here it is. This is the Moreau Sweater. So again, I'm not really sure if I can fit the whole thing in the image. Maybe you can see it there. Anywho, this is a top-down colorwork yoke sweater, a pretty classic sort of construction for this type of a garment, and just playing with a lot of different fun colors. For this particular sample, I used 2 colorways of spin cycle yarns along with the main just solid body color. So there are actually just 2 colorways in all of this colorwork yoke. So there's more of a darker purple skein, which you can see here, and then another skein that was kind of the blues. So you can see throughout here, like the lighter sort of blue-green tones, that was a different skein. So since it's spin cycle yarns, it just kind of changes and morphs in color as you keep knitting with it. And I did have to do a little bit of color management with my yarn to make sure that the contrast wasn't going to get too low. I know this one turned out, as far as like color contrast, it turned out a little bit more soft and muddled than I was expecting, but I actually really like how it turned out. I think it's more kind of interesting and not what I was expecting. But yeah, so the color work goes all the way around to the back as well, and I have not blocked this yet. I haven't woven in my ends because I just haven't yet. I honestly forgot to, but that will be my next step, and then it will be officially done, and I can get photos and things of me wearing it so you can see how it fits. It fits with a couple of inches of positive ease, so it's very comfortable to wear, but it's definitely not tight anywhere, at least with the measurements that I have suggested in the pattern. But of course you are allowed to knit it to whatever kind of a positive ease you would like. And then the sleeves, there's some light tapering down to the cuffs, and then the cuffs also have some of the color work as well, similar to the top. Hopefully you can see there. And then I also did a rolled hem. So I did an Italian sewn bind off, which I will be creating a tutorial for this. I think I might have a slightly different method than other tutorials for this, so I'm just going to make my own, and hopefully that will be helpful to you all. And also link that in this pattern, of course. But you can see on ribbing, it just creates this really beautiful edging where the ribbing just kind of goes into nothing. It's not really a normal cut off edge as maybe would be with a normal bind off, but I really like that edging. I try to not do it with my unspun yarn projects because that can be a whole other thing, but with this kind of spun yarn it's much easier. So yes, I told you that it is 2 skeins of Spin Cycle, and then it is also the main color. I used a Miss Babs yarn. It is a superwash yarn. It is her Yummy 2-ply base, and this particular colorway is Antique Brass. So, oh my gosh, I have been planning this color combo since I saw these yarns a couple years ago, and I just fell in love with how they all look together. So I'm really happy that this project is finally finished, and I really need to block this so that I can start wearing it, because, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So excited for fall. Did I already tell you that? Alright, let's see. Another finished object. Let's hop to crochet really quick, why don't we? So this is my first ever real crochet project. I'll say it's a real crochet project because it's not just a little like swatch square from when I was learning how to do crochet when I was probably 12. But I picked crochet up again kind of recently in the past couple of months. I had seen a crochet project that I just fell in love with the texture, so I had to do something with that texture. Had to kind of relearn crochet so that I could make this. So the original was actually a sweater, and I will link the sweater down below if you really like this texture as well, but I wanted a pillow because I don't need more sweaters and I didn't want to spend the time to make a whole crochet sweater on top of all the other things I'm making, but I did need a nice pillow cover. So I had this pillow insert and no cover, so I figured I would crochet a cover. So yeah, this is what the texture looks like, and I finally finished the entire pillow. Again, this has been done for about a month or so or more. Yeah, lots of things to catch you up on. And I used 2 colorways of Knitted in yarn for this. I used the green that's kind of solid throughout, or maybe it'll look brown to you. I'm not really sure how it will show up on camera, but the main sort of color is Lucra, and then the other one that's fading is also in Knitted in yarn, and that is Virvan. So again, I'm not super, I think I said this in the last episode, I'm not super excited with this like lime greeny section. I was hoping it was gonna be more like fall tones, like this top area. I just love this. I think that's gorgeous. But anyway, I love the pillow nonetheless. I'm happy that it's finished, and it's always lovely to have homemade things or handmade things in your home, I think. It just adds like just a touch of comfiness that you maybe wouldn't get as much if it were store-bought. I am trying to, or I do have a goal of kind of making many more things for our home. We do need some more pillow covers and some blankets and things like that, so I will talk about that in a little bit today. But yeah, I am kind of having a goal to make more things for the home, not just garments. Okay, what else? Another finished object. Oh man, these, okay, so I finished a pair of socks. These had been in progress since like last summer, I think. So I had finished, or almost, I had almost finished this sock, and then I stopped like right before the cuff. I had stopped knitting like here, and they were just sitting, actually they weren't even on needles. I just had them like, they weren't even on scrap yarn. I just ripped out the needles at some point and then had the sock in a baggie, and I found it in my whip stash, and then decided to pull it back out so I could finish them because I had kind of forgotten about this project. But I really loved, when I was making it, I really loved the idea. So these are some socks that I decided to knit kind kind of just making up a fade as I went along. So the base recipe for this is the Kura socks by Evil Knits. She has a tutorial. I will also link that down below. I think it's always available on her blog, on her website. So I will link that down below if you aren't aware of this pattern. It's not really a pattern, it's more of a recipe. If you know, you know. I will link it down below nonetheless. It's really easy to follow, so just go check it out. But anywho, I had an idea to use that recipe to make some socks that were fading in color. So you cast on here at the toe, and then I just picked out some colors from my stash. Lots of different knitted end colors. I just picked out some that I thought would go nicely together, that might fade nicely together, and then just faded them together. So kind of my method was, it's two-stranded all the way through. So I held 2 strands of knitted end for the whole time knitting, but I changed what colors I was using when. So in this top toe part, I used 2 colors of this color, which is Hufta, and then you can see down a little bit further, this part is 1 strand of Hufta with 1 strand of Fleeceline. So still 2 strands, but then I have 2 colors going. And then I switched to only Fleeceline, 2 strands, and then 1 strand Fleeceline and 1 strand, I don't remember what that one is, but something that's pink, and then so on and so forth, so you can kind of get the idea. So it's really easy to execute, and since knitted end you don't need to, or you can spit splice it, you can like rub it together with your hands and spit splice it. There were no extra ends to weave in because I would just break off the yarn when I wanted to transfer one of the colors. I would just break off the end, push in the new one and rub them together a little bit, and then just keep on knitting. So even though there's so many colors going on, I only had one end to weave in at the very top when I bound off. So I would recommend doing that. It was a really fun activity. It was really fun, like, just playing with colors. And if you also have like some scraps, maybe. I know we all have those balls of 2 strands of unspun yarn. You could definitely take some of those and put them to use in some fading socks. And then it's great if it's unspun because then you won't even have a million ends to weave in, which is always the worst part with using a lot of colors. So these were really fun. So yeah, I just decided to finish them up, and of course they're socks, so I was able to finish them very quickly, and now I can wear them finally. So I haven't been wearing them yet. I wanted to share them here on the podcast first so they look nice and pretty and blocked. But now they're done. And if you would like to know exactly the colors that I used for this particular sample, let me know and I will add it to my Ravelry project page. I can figure it out. I don't remember right now, but I can figure out what colors I used in what order. So be happy to share that information with you if you would like to know. And then along the vein of socks, now we'll get into works in progress. So I had a bunch of extra balls of knitted end just laying around doing nothing that I'd probably had from, you know, swatching or whatever it may be. And I decided to make another kind of improvised sock idea. So I decided to cast on another pair of Kura socks. Kura? I'm not saying that properly, I'm sure. So this is how it's looking so far. I have just been doing random made-up colorwork motifs. So I'm using, for like the little, I don't know what you want to call that. Anyway, I'm using like one color throughout, and then I'm changing like the background color of the colorwork motifs. Does that make sense? So for the toe here, this is, again, I'm using 2 strands throughout this whole thing. And, oh yes, I always use, also, if you're curious, I always use a US 3 needle for my Kura socks with 2 strands. And I'm knitting it at quite a tight gauge. I make sure to pull it pretty tight. So, anyway, the top here, this is one strand of Velsen and one strand of Snow, so kind of a white with a very subtle pinkish hue to it. And then I just change random colors in the different sections to make little colorwork motifs. So I kind of just chose like a vibe of colors. I'm kind of going with like pastel-y cool tones, but other than that it is totally random and I'm not really planning it at all. I do have to do a little bit of math just to make sure that the actual colorwork motif will fit in the amount of stitches, but it's pretty, I mean, if you mess up, it doesn't really matter, right? Who's gonna tell? But yeah, so I haven't finished the first sock yet. I need to get back to this project. I was having a lot of fun with it. And socks are always really great to have on the go because they're so small and you can just pick them up anytime and they're not a big to-do to knit on. So yeah, that's how this one's coming. Oh, and I do love to use my 9-inch circulars on socks. You can see I have them in right now. So these are US 3, I believe. Yeah. My Chiaogu US 3 needles. Those are my favorite sock knitting needles. So I'm having a lot of fun with that. And another work in progress. I was so happy with how my Moreau sweater turned out that I decided to cast on another one. But this one in unspun, of course, because I'm obsessed with unspun yarn, if you couldn't tell already. So I will show you where I'm at with it now. And I remembered to put it on some larger needles so I could spread out the colorwork so I could show you. So here is my second version of the Moreau sweater so far. And I'm so excited with how this one's coming out. I can just tell this one is going to get a lot of wear. This is going to be so cozy and warm and actually quite soft. These colorways are actually quite soft in Nutiden. So, not that Nutiden is scratchy, but these ones are particularly soft in my opinion. So yeah, I really love how this one is coming out. And as you can see, it is very much more contrasty than the first version that I shared with you, the first sample. I did that on purpose. I wanted to see what the color work would look like when we have pretty high contrast so you can see all of the details clearly. So yeah, having a lot of fun with this one. And I'm using one strand of Nutiden for each color, which has been a bit of a challenge, especially with this deep maroon kind of magenta color. This one is just a little bit thinner than the others. If you've worked with Nutiden before, then you may know that some of their colorways can be thinner or thicker than others. Some can be maybe better or easier to knit single-stranded, or others maybe you should knit double-stranded or more at least. But anyway, I just fell in love with this color combo, so I've been making it work. Sometimes have to reinforce and kind of intentionally break the yarn and then mush it back together so I can get it to be thicker. But that's just part of the process, right? That's just part of knitting with unspun. So that's how it's looking all the way around. So yes, I am using one strand of each color. So the first one, this one at the top, this is Morgar, which was I think a Patreon special colorway for this past December. And then the light pink is, oh, I forget the name. It was from the February collection of this past February. Just a pretty usual light, like ballerina pink sort of a color. And then the kind of rusty gray that is skimped in here. So, having a lot of fun. Having a lot of fun with that one. And this one is actually going pretty quickly. I didn't cast this one on very long ago, and I'm just having so much fun with it. It's flying off the needles. Alrighty, so I think let's get into spinning now. I have finished quite a few handspun yarns. So first I will show you these skeins. So if you're not aware already, I am knitting a shifty sweater, or I'm going to be knitting a shifty sweater by Andrea Mowry. I'm going to be knitting that for a friend as soon as I finish all the handspun yarns for it, and I'm going to be making it out of entirely handspun yarn. And I'm going to be making it out of 6 different colorways of handspun yarn. So it is a big project, and now I have officially finished 4 of the colorways, so I have 2 more. I've already started spinning on the 5th colorway, and then I have 1 more colorway to entirely do, and then we'll be ready to knit. So it's a long process, but I think it'll be worth it in the end. I'm really excited to see how it turns out, and I'm so excited that it'll be like 100% handmade, like even down to the spinning of the yarn. So I think that'll just be cool. But anywho, these skeins are finished. These are both the same colorway. I just couldn't fit all the yarn on a single bobbin. I think this is like a 4 ounce. This was a 4 ounce braid, I think. So I don't know. I wasn't able to fit it all on a single bobbin. But I really love this colorway, how it turned out. It's like a very wearable orange. I'm usually not an orange person, but I really like this. It's more neutral and has like a gray undertone to it, and then with some light variegation to it. So I'll tell you what the fiber was. It was fiber from, I make little cards now so I can keep track of what I did. So the fiber was from Neighborhood Fiber Co., and it is their Colorwork base. I spun it in June. You can see how long it's been since I podcast. Well, I think I started in June. The colorway of this is called Basquiat. And what else? Okay, so the larger skein, I got 500 yards, and it is 87 grams. Wow. Is this really like a lace weight? I guess in some spots it's almost like a lace weight. Whoops. I don't know. I think this fiber must be very airy. I'm still not entirely sure how grist works, but I kind of just eyeball my yarn. This one is a little bit thinner than the other ones. I think it was very smooth when I was drafting it, so this one came out a bit thinner than some of my other colorways for this project, but I think it'll be okay. I think it'll be okay, because this one I have noticed when I don't have it wound up tightly, it definitely like blooms out. So I think once the sweater's like washed and blocked and has bloomed, it'll be okay. Though this skein is denser because it is 50 grams and it is 245 yards. So I think, yeah, I think this one is a little bit denser. Anyway, it'll be okay for the sweater. I am excited nonetheless. So finished those. And then I have also finished this skein. Sorry, I'm looking away because I'm trying to figure out where I put the little note tag for this. Let me see if I have it. You know, I was so excited that I've been making tags, but now I have lost the one for this skein. I remember the dyer. I don't remember right now, but I know I have the information for the dyer, so I will link that down below if you are curious about this colorway. But it is a really beautiful kind of lilac purple with bits of blue and silver throughout it. My friend is very into purples, so I think she'll like this one a lot. This one I haven't washed yet. I think I haven't washed this skein yet, so you may see it looks a little crinkly, but that will all bloom out once I wash the yarn. But yeah, this one again, I think I measured it too. Anyway, I don't know what happened to that. I'll have to find my note for it. But this is another skein for the shifty sweater. And then I have started spinning up the 5th skein. So this is one of the singles for the 5th skein. This one I know is also fiber from Neighborhood Fiber Co. and this is their BFL and silk base. So I hope you can tell this one is quite a bit more sheen. This one has quite a bit of sheen to it as opposed to the Polworth. So I actually really love this base. The silk is nicely carded and blended throughout, or combed. I think this fiber prep was combed. It's nicely blended throughout that you're not going to get like chunks of silk, because I have seen that sometimes where as you're drafting you just get like a big chunk of silk come out, and I don't know, it's just not very even. So this one is not like that at all, and the silk is nicely blended throughout the whole fiber. So I really like how that one's turning out. You're seeing a lot of gray here on the top, but this one also has a lot of orange. You can see some of it peeking through here at the bottom. But yes, this fiber also has quite a bit of orange throughout it as well, which is another one of my friend's favorite colors. So, oh yeah, I'm excited to start knitting on this project. I need to finish up the yarn, spinning the yarn, so I can get knitting. I'm taking my time through this process and enjoying it because it should be enjoyed. It's a big process and it's a long process, and I don't want to rush any part of it. I want it to be memorable and fun. So that is some spinning that I've been working on. And I guess we'll talk about some of my sewing ideas. So like I said at the beginning, I am in full swing for fall. I have planned to make some pillow covers, some blankets, do some more decor around here, getting our house feeling more fall-like and festive. And I'm also planning quite a bit of fall clothing for a more fall-appropriate wardrobe, fall-winter appropriate wardrobe. I've been feeling like I want to shift my style a little bit. I haven't been buying retail clothing at all for, I feel like, the past 6 or 7 years. I've purchased maybe like a handful of garments, and other than that I've just been trying to make whatever new garments I want. I will just make them. So I'm feeling very much like an itch to create some more kind of warm garments for cold weather. So I want to make some more long skirts, more like long flowy skirts and pants. I definitely have three different pairs of pants scheduled on the docket that I want to sew. So just things that I'm really excited about, with fabric that I'm very excited about, just beautiful, beautiful things that I have found that I really want to bring into my life and curate a wardrobe that feels more like me. Since I haven't really gotten new clothes in what feels like such a long time, a lot of the things that I have don't really feel much like my style anymore. So yeah, I just kind of want to create a more handmade wardrobe. Definitely more pieces that are made by me. I just really want to create a wardrobe that feels more like me today. I've gotten a bit older, more mature, and my style has changed a bit, and I figure I might as well make the clothing since I love doing that. And I can know exactly where the fabric comes from and what it's made out of, and I can choose fabrics that may not even be available in stores, or if they are available in stores then they will cost so much more, rather than making it yourself. So anyway, I just have a lot of things planned for that, and I will show you some of the fabrics that I already have. A lot are on their way to me, and I will be sharing that in future podcast episodes. But some of it I have with me here. Okay, so one of the fabrics, this is a cotton double gauze that I'm going to be making I think it's called a Gilbert top, the Gilbert top, I believe. I will, if I'm wrong, I will put the actual name of the sewing pattern here, and I'll also put an image so you can see what I'm talking about. It's this really beautiful button-down collar t-shirt that I found. Just a really beautiful pattern, I think, that will be great to wear with pretty much anything. And I really loved, I saw someone had made it in a double gauze fabric, and I just really loved how that looked. So this is going to be a really nice and flowy and airy, so it'll be good for probably all season wear. If it's not warm, then I can just chuck some more sweaters and, you know, coats and scarves and shawls over it, and then it'll be great in summer since it's a t-shirt. So that will be one of the things that I'm working on very soon. And then this is some fabric that I had from Merchant and Mills. I've had this for a little while now, and I didn't know what to make with it. I think I had originally had a plan to make like an apron sort of thing, but then once I had, that was my idea prior to actually receiving the fabric in the mail, but then once I saw it in person, I just totally changed my mind. I just thought it was gorgeous. It's a really beautiful linen with a very subtle stripe to it. Hopefully you can see. It's like this deep navy with some minor little vertical stripes. So I thought this fabric was too beautiful to make an apron out of it, and an apron that would just get dirty in cooking and whatnot. So I think I'm actually going to make some nice pants out of these, or out of this fabric instead. So this is some really lovely fabric from Merchant and Mills. I'm not sure if they're still going to have it available. I've noticed with Merchant and Mills that the fabrics tend to go pretty quickly, and then I can't find it from them again. But I do sometimes find it on other websites, and since they are a wholesale fabric company, you can find certain fabrics elsewhere. So I will try to find what this fabric was, and I'll try to link it for you if you're curious. But yeah, just a really beautiful blue with some subtle stripes. So that will be another thing. And then I have a pair of, what is the pattern called? Persephone pants. If you're into sewing, you may have heard this pattern before. I think it's a very popular pants pattern. So I am planning on sewing some Persephone pants. I think I'm actually going to make at least 2. I want to make some that are, I think, like a terracotta kind of a color. And then I also want to make some out of some tweed yarn. Some tweed fabric. So I had also seen this fabric. Let me get the swatch. I had also seen this fabric from Merchant and Mills. And I don't actually have the fabric with me as of yet, but I will show the swatch of it. So I'd ordered this swatch from Merchant and Mills. This is the Bernera Harris tweed. So it's a Harris tweed fabric. So this will probably be the fanciest fabric I've ever worked with. I'm definitely going to want to make the other pair first, so that can kind of be my trial run. I'm also, of course, going to make a muslin, but I definitely want this pair of pants to be a special pair, since the fabric will be so nice. But I just absolutely fell in love with this colorway. Just, there's so many different colors, but the overall tone is just like this gorgeous olive brown green. I just thought it was gorgeous. From far away and close up, I just love the herringbone, and this is just totally my style. So I really loved this, and then I went so I ordered this swatch when I ordered the blue fabric, which was almost a year ago at this point. But I went like a week after I received the package, I went back on the Merchant and Mills website to try to order the fabric, and it was gone already. So that can happen sometimes. But luckily, I am now looking again at all of these fabrics, and I have seen it again. So this exact fabric is now again on the Merchant and Mills website. If you would like to check it out, I think it is gorgeous. But even before I noticed that, and this is like within the past week or two, I've noticed it on the Merchant and Mills website. But I was so disappointed for months that I thought that fabric was gone. I thought I would never be able to get that exact colorway again. I actually found the Harris Tweed shop website, and Harris Tweed, of course, sells their own fabrics by the yard. So I was able to find on their website you can order swatches from them as well. So I ordered some swatches from the Harris Tweed shop online, and they took a little while to get here. The swatches took a little while to get here. But if you're curious about working with Harris Tweed fabrics, I would definitely recommend doing this because they're quite an investment. The fabrics are quite an investment. So it's really great that they offer free swatches, like absolutely free swatches, not even shipping costs or anything. And they even included a letter to try to help you with your decision making, and it's just really, really lovely and super helpful. So yeah, I was able to find the same fabric as well on the Harris Tweed shop. So this is the one. Hopefully you can tell. Can you tell these are the same? These two. So they're called something different. Merchant & Mills calls it Bernera. Harris Tweed calls it Edinburgh. But you can find the same fabric from the Harris Tweed shop as well. So if you love Harris Tweed as much as I do, I would definitely recommend checking out their shop and or Merchant & Mills, because gorgeousness. And you can always order swatches to see the fabrics in person, make sure you like the feel of it, the colorway, everything like that before you purchase and invest. So yeah, I'm really excited about sewing this season and creating a wardrobe that just really feels like me, and I'll have a lot of fun with it too, of course, and I will share the whole process with you all here. So now we'll get into some things that have made their way into my life. Like I said, we have been on some trips recently, and one of those trips we journeyed up to a little bit past Sacramento. So here we are a little bit east of Oakland and Berkeley. So we went on a trip and we went a little bit northeast of Sacramento, and I was so lucky to be able to meet a llama farmer. This was so much fun. We were able to, me and my partner, we were able to go to the farm and meet the llama, pet the llamas, and it was just so much fun. And the farmer, the woman who runs the farm, she was so kind. They had just done their shearing of the llamas, and she was so kind to want to offer me the fiber from the llamas. I had told her about how I love the fiber arts and I love spinning, and I would be so excited to be able to process this local fiber and turn it into some yarn, or, you know, turn it into something. So she was so kind to give me a big bushel of the fiber. So, oh my gosh, when I saw it in person and felt it, this really interesting texture. So this fiber I have not washed it yet. I have not done anything with it yet, purely for the fact I don't really know how to yet. I haven't washed fiber yet in my life. I do have some fiber, some unwashed, just like fresh from the farm fiber, but I really don't know how to process it properly yet, and I've been meaning to do some more research on how to work with it properly so that I don't mess it up or put any kinks in it or anything like that. And it's also a very large amount of llama fiber, so I will definitely need some sort of a carder or combing device, something to work it and get it all ready for spinning, because it is a very large amount that I have not worked with any sort of amount of unwashed fiber like this before. So if you have any suggestions, if you are a fiber artist, if you have washed fiber before that was fresh from the farm with all the vegetable matter in it and everything wonderful like that, I would really appreciate if you would share some tips that you may have. I have been doing some research and trying to research like what carders would be good for this kind of a process. It is going to be a lot to go through. So I will show you the fiber. So this is just a very little bit that I pulled out of the sack. It was like, oh my gosh, I can't even show you in the video like how long, and like it's a gigantic sack, like many, many pounds of fiber that we have now to work with. So it's so soft. Oh my gosh. So this is what some of the fiber looks like. Again, still has all the vegetable matter and everything in it. This has not been washed at all. It was just sheared and stuck in a bag. And I think it may have been the way it was shorn, or if the fiber lengths are just quite short. She did let me know that they shear their llamas every year. So I think this, let me see if I can. So the fiber length looks to be 2 to 3 inches long. The staple length, I mean. So that seems a bit short. So that'll be another interesting piece to work with once I actually start working with this. But it is quite soft. And I don't want to touch this too much because it is dirty. But yes, I am really excited to be working with this. I just don't really know how to proceed yet, so I haven't done anything. We do have buckets, and I have scouring wash. Is that what it's called? Scouring wash, yeah. I don't know the whole process, so if you have any tips to share, please let me know. And of course, once I actually do start working with this, I'm going to try to record everything so that I can share all with you here, how my process is going, how it's working up, and all like that. So that maybe if you ever get your hands on some fiber, then you maybe know what to do with it. So yeah, that's the plan so far. I'm really excited to work with this llama fiber. It will definitely be enough fiber, I think. It will definitely be enough fiber to at least knit a whole sweater. Probably more though, because it's a lot. So, and she had even more than that. Like we didn't even take home all of it. It was overwhelming. But anyway, so that was a really fun little trip. So some local llama fiber to us. And then something else that another knitwear designer was so kind to send to me. If you may know her on Instagram already, but the designer Barbelle Saleh. Don't know if I'm saying her name correctly. I'm sorry if I'm not saying it correctly. But she was so kind to send over her new Colorwork shawl book. It is called Knit Artistic Shawls. Can you see how gorgeous that is? So I was already flipping through some of her designs, and it is just amazing, amazing work. I'm gonna try to not get the charts in here, but hopefully you can see. Hopefully it'll focus on there. Just really beautiful designs. And this one, I just love this so much. I think I might actually want to knit these as like a blanket kind of a thing, and maybe use like some more neutral tones, because we know how much I love neutral tones. But just the design of like the leaf structures, and just beautiful, and the fading. So thank you so much for sending this to me. If you haven't already checked out her page, her Instagram page, I would highly recommend doing so. If you love colorwork knitting at all, like I do, would highly recommend. It is just beautiful designs from her. So thank you again for sending that over. And then the brand 2 is Enough, which is a linen clothing brand. They're kind of a spin-off of the brand Not Perfect Linen, if you've heard of them. They were so kind to reach out to me and want to send me some of their new pieces. Just beautiful, beautiful linen clothing pieces. So I'm wearing one right now, so I will stand up and show you what it looks like as much as I can. Of course, I am on camera, and of course this is not going to show the entire thing, but I'm wearing one of their pairs of pants right now. Just absolutely comfortable, elegant, a really beautiful linen fabric. They were so kind to send my way so I could style it with some of my handmade knits. And then they also sent over one of their really beautiful tops. So the pieces actually still say Not Perfect Linen on them. The little icon in the back, the little tag in the back. It still says Not Perfect Linen, But this is Two Is Enough is kind of an offshoot brand. It's more meant to be like your capsule wardrobe. So pieces that I think were originally from the Not Perfect Linen line that were performing really well, you know, people really loved them, and they decided to make them in some more like everyday wear tones and just more of like a capsule wardrobe kind of collection. So this top I've already been wearing so often. It is so comfortable and just really soft. Like, this is probably the softest linen that I have ever felt. Really, really beautiful. Has a lovely drape to it. Has a really nice thickness to the linen. It is not see-through whatsoever. Of course, maybe it looks see-through right now, but when you're wearing it, it is not see-through for being a white linen. And it's really like cooling. It's just, it has a lovely effect on the body. It's very comfortable to wear. And then they also sent over this pair of pants as well. So this pair is more kind of slouchy and more wide leg all the way down. And then it has this really cute little bow in the front. And I will probably put in some more photos or video of me wearing, so you can see like the full look of what it completely looks like. And I will also link to these down below. So it has some pockets on the front as well as the back there. And these pieces, they just fit so well. They're so comfortable, and I'm definitely going to be purchasing more, I think. Just really great capsule wardrobe pieces. I think that's the best way to describe it. Really comfortable. A very, very comfortable fabric and breathable. So yeah, I think that's everything I have to share with you today. So I hope you enjoyed. It's great to be back. I'm really excited to continue sharing things with you, and I'm really excited for fall and all of these new ideas that I have. I've been working on a lot of new swatches and just things that come into my mind and just playing with some new ideas. And I know there are some patterns of mine that are still in the works. I've shared with you some finished objects, but the patterns are still in the works. So those will be coming, but not quite yet. And I, of course, will share it with you. But yeah, other than that, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and thank you so much for spending some time with me, and I will see you next time. Bye bye. Who wants it? Who wants it?
Hello.
Oh my god, so many.
So many of them. Hello, everybody.
Want some food? Hi. Yabba, 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 yabba.
Hello.
Hello. Hello. Hello.